Oh, hey there. How are you? I'm Steve, and I will be working with you for the next 8 weeks on college composition. It's going to be very nice to meet you. You haven't introduced yourself to me yet, but this is my introduction to you. And I'm here to talk in sort of some broader terms about the course itself and then drill down a little more specifically into what the expectations are for your week 1 assignments. But I'm not going to be putting my face up in your business for much longer, but I want to say a couple of important things. First one is I love my job. I will be entering in the fall my 20th year of teaching college writing. Don't let the baby face fool you. The thing about my job is I love it, and I enjoy every day of it. I enjoy just about every aspect of it, although subcommittee meetings are not my favorite. The other thing is I want you to never be confused in this class. I want you to reach out to me through email. We can set up a video conference either through Blackboard Connect or Skype or of course FaceTime for us to have an actual conversation about anything that's confusing you, or traditionally email can usually provide most of the answers to the questions you have. My one caveat with that is that I want you to look everywhere in my materials before you send me that email or reach out for that meeting. I've tried to put the answers to just about every commonly asked question somewhere in my materials, and if you don't go all the way through them, you gum up the works for me and for you. And I don't. That's not something that I think makes you a better student. I think a good student is a responsible student, and a responsible student looks everywhere before they reach out. But if you're ever confused on something, we don't have a lot of time together. This class is compressed. Usually semesters are 16 weeks long. We are half that. We are 8 weeks. We have to make them count. Let me help you make them count, okay? I think that's all I need to do with the big screen in my face. So in Blackboard, let me see, do I have it up right here? In Blackboard, I guess I can go, if you click on the lessons page of our course, right here you can see course syllabus. You can download this yourself. It's a boilerplate syllabus, but I wanted to walk you through the very bare bones, raw basics of the class before we talk about week 1. So this is a Web3 class, which means it's fully online. So we might not ever even meet each other in person. That tends to be the case. I have taught online for half of my career. As I think I taught my first online class in 2008. Might have been 2007. I can look. But long time, okay? And so I don't typically see you, but doesn't mean we can't get a lot of good work done together. So there's my email. I have a Gmail account that I'll talk about later that I would rather you contact me with. You have a textbook by the Johns, John Mock and John Metz, The Composition of Everyday Life, the 6th edition. Ooh, typo. Not me, by my boss who puts this together. So go ahead and get the textbook as soon as you can. You have reading due this week. We're going to do a writing workshop approach. So even though we're not going to spend much physical space together, we're still going to do ideas that were born out of students being in the same classroom together. You're going to look at each other's work. You're going to look at other people's writing. Other people are going to look at your writing. And of course, I'm here all along the way to look at your writing as well. Bouncing ideas off other people is, generally speaking, a good thing. It generates new ideas. It generates better ideas. So I can skip over that. Let's talk just very broadly about the requirements. We're going to start this class off with a narrative essay. Narrative is a fancy word for story. You're going to tell me a story about a place. Okay, it's a place that only you can write about, that you consider your home. Okay, we don't do page numbers anymore. We do word counts. So 750 words is 3 pages. 250 words per page is sort of the industry standard. The second essay that we work on is going to be speculative in nature. You're going to pick a trend out in the world and you're going to say, why do people do that? Why do people go to comic book movies, or why do people have their fake Instagram accounts, why their Finstas more, why they use them more than their regular Instagram? Some sort of a curious human behavior. It's a fun essay, and it often can translate into your larger research project as a topic. So research project is our sort of crowning achievement, or our capstone project for the semester. It will be 5 pages at a minimum, 5 pages of text. That's the first word after the title, the last word before the references page. We'll have a lot more to say about that later. Our final project of the semester is the collaborative essay. And that's just what it sounds like. You're going to work with other people on you're going to collaborate. So we spend a week on each of these essays, more or less, the narrative and the speculative. And then we spend 2 weeks on the research project, More than that. Then we spend basically the rest of the semester on the end here. I'm still sorting out the calendar, if I'm being completely honest. I am a hopeless tinkerer. I sort of, up until the time I sort of release my course to you, I'm always making like a million like micro decisions about how to pace things and when to make things do. So some of the stuff as I'm recording this haven't been settled yet, but by the time you are watching it, it will be. I've definitely got week one sort of locked down, and week two more or less, but I like to tinker a little bit into the class to see what I can expect out of you in terms of turning stuff in on time, in terms of keeping up with classwork. If I need to slow down a little bit, I can. If I can speed up a little bit, that's always my preference. So I don't know what kind of students you're going to be yet, but I will know soon. That's the good news. And then along the way, we're going to do reader responses. They're just two, 500-word. It's right there in the title. You read something and you respond to it. Instructor determined assignments. Those are going to be for us, peer review and discussion forums. And then at the very, very end of the semester, you're going to write me a quick 3-page essay reflecting on your time in our class, especially in terms of how the collaborative project went, but also some sort of like bigger picture stuff. Okay, so that's the grade breakdown. Those aren't up to me. Those are up to people who are in charge of me. All right. So I operate in Google Docs, okay? By far, like I said, since I'm a tweaker, since I like to tweak a lot of my stuff, Google Docs allows me to give you a link to an active document and then continue to work on it. Like if I get like 6 emails from 6 of you asking the same question, I can go into the Google Doc and kind of, make it a little clearer in different places, which saves maybe the other, 16 of you, 18 of you maybe, depending on our enrollments, save you the trouble of emailing me as well. So I like to put all the assignments into one Google Doc. I get a lot of very positive feedback from my students with it, but they also, some of them can feel a little overwhelmed at the beginning. Don't let them. I come to this format very sort of honestly. Like I've tried lots of different formats for sort of sharing content, and this one has gotten the most positive feedback by far. Like I said, not my first online class. So let's see, what else can I tell you before we get into the assignments? Just as long as you know what you're getting into. I don't know you yet. I don't know if this is your first summer class. I don't know if this is your first online class or your first writing class. Summer can be overwhelming, but as long as you manage your time, as long as you make sure you're being sort of thorough in your work ethic, shouldn't be a problem. Okay. The other thing is, don't let these agendas overwhelm you. It looks, look, we skim it all. It looks like a lot, and hopefully you're watching this video before you really dig into it. It's just it's a way for you to hopefully make a checklist to kind of make sure you're hitting all the beats. And I try to make them chronological in terms of I would rather you do the first thing first, because it's going to make you better at the next thing is going to make you better at the next thing. Okay, so I have an old screencast that I'm pretty happy with about my guide to writing that will hopefully help you to do the things I think good writers do and avoid the things that I think less successful writers do. Like the word "you," I kind of never want to see it. So lots of little rules in the guide to writing, so you can check it out anytime. Our calendar is in Blackboard. Like I said, I try to lock in the due dates, and then I kind of move the little stuff around. So I already have the calendar kind of fleshed out in terms of where the larger assignments are due. So I would put them in your phone. They're not going anywhere. You need to be able to rely on me to be consistent in my sort of due date enforcement so that you can plan your life accordingly. And I certainly respect that, and I honor that. So due dates generally won't change unless very unique circumstances arise. Okay, I assume some of you might be starting college, but you got a Stark City email account. There's a Gmail account associated with it that you can use this semester. If you want to work from a personal Gmail, I really don't care. As long as you share your Google Drive folder with me and share it correctly and share it quickly with me. So, I mean, like, the document I would imagine speak for itself. Okay, so, I mean, you guys probably know Google Drive as well as me, maybe better. All right, so when you share it with me, go to Steve Edgehouse or steve.edgehouse@gmail.com. They both go to the same account. If I don't have a Google Drive folder from you, I can't grade your work. So, because I'm not going to accept any work that doesn't appear in your Google Drive folders, because that's a way for both of us to stay organized. If I can't access your work when I want to access it, I can't do my job. If I can't do my job, that means kind of you haven't done your job either. And we all want to be good at our work, don't we? I know I do. Okay, so this is the one little part that doesn't get graded, but I still think is very important. little link to a personal bio, personal intro. All right, we're at the 10-minute mark. If you want to take a break, you can always make your way through these screencasts, however, whatever pace you want. So just, I'm a runner and I'll bore you to tears with it. I have some kids, and then just anything else that's interesting. You're going to try, just make a Google slideshow, make a PowerPoint if you must. I'm not exactly Mr. Microsoft. If you want to use an online presentation, I don't think we have time to get too cute with like learning new software this very quick semester, but if there's an online presentation software that you are fond of, please use it. Please tell me about it. I'm always on the lookout for that next thing. All right, let's see. Make sure that that you share it correctly. If you have any questions about Google Drive, I'm your guy. Just send me an email. Like I said, it's my assumption. I haven't had to really teach any students Google Drive in a couple of semesters, maybe a couple of years by now if I thought about it. But that doesn't mean you can't send me questions. Okay, you have some reading to do. Like I said, inventing ideas, developing voice, and vitalizing sentences. Those are all important. I want us to begin with a baseline, like a foundational understanding of what makes good writing, what makes I won't say good, I'll say effective writing, okay, and how effective writing comes to be. We get pretty hung up on the idea of inspiration, I think, as writers, that if I wait around long enough, inspiration will strike and I'll become a much better writer. I'll have that good idea. That's sort of a myth. It's mostly a myth for just about every writer I've worked with, and I've worked with, I guess probably thousands by now. It's work. It's a process. You put the time in. It's getting reps. Okay, so these get you, thinking about ways to develop your voice, to generate ideas, and to be sharp in your writing. Let's see. APA is going to be our citation method. There's no major at Stark State that doesn't use it, so we might as well get used to it, and you'll be okay, even if you haven't done it. I have other screencasts on the first essay and on how to brainstorm. I have an essay 1 assignment. I feel like the screencast will speak for itself, as will the assignment. I'm always on the lookout for clever topics. Let me go full screen for that. Please surprise me with your topics. Write on something that only you could write on. I've seen enough topics on the more predictable, traditional freshman English sorts of topics. I don't want to see them anymore. They kind of arrive at the same tired conclusions. Write something that only you could write about. When it comes to this first narrative essay, write about a place only you could write about. Distinguish yourself. Make yourself special. All right, let's see. So you're going to do a brainstorming post in our discussion forums in Blackboard. Okay, so I hope those are easy to find. I just worked on the prompt earlier today, and I'm pretty happy with it. It's as good as it's going to get. So you can start brainstorming your ideas for Essay 1 ASAP. I will be monitoring those forums closely. I don't generally jump into forums. The research says that's not a good idea. It's a bit more, it's a little too like top-down, like authoritative. And I like to do what good research tells me. All right, so you'll make some forum posts. Then you will complete reader response 1. Again, this is a fairly boilerplatey assignment. Okay, you summarize and you analyze. Okay, you react to it. Okay, and you look up words you didn't know. You can pick from any of these. These are all sort of in the vein of like the type of writing you're going to do for Essay 1. You want to find something else that you really liked reading, as long as it's sort of intellectually engaging and has some ideas behind it. I'm cool with that. Just send me a link to whatever it is that you're responding to, so I can read it too, so I can have a sort of a fuller picture of the writer that you are trying to be. Okay, and then hopefully by the end of week 1 you start writing Essay 1, because we have a very busy week coming. This used to be Essay 2. We used to have to do a timed essay. So if you see anything that says Essay 2, don't, you can let me know. But it's going to be an interesting semester in that regard. So there, and that's it for week 1. So we do pick up the pace a little bit as we go along, but you signed up for an online class, you signed up for a summer class, you signed up for a summer online writing class. I hope you're ready to write online in a very fast-paced sort of double-time way. I'm here to be, I'm available. I'm rooting for you to do well. I very much want to help you succeed in your goals as a writer, as a thinker, as a student, as a whatever major you are. I'm rooting for you. I want to facilitate a positive experience in this class and in in your college career. So please let me do that. Great to meet you. Send me your questions. Thanks.